There is one number that tells you more about the Snyder real estate market than any other statistic. More than list price, more than what sold last year, more than anything you'll find on Zillow. It's called days on market, and most sellers have never heard of it. Right now in Snyder, correctly priced homes are selling in roughly 18 days. That's the average across the last 12 months. The national average is 54 days. That one number, 18 days, tells you that Snyder is not a balanced market. It's not a buyer's market. Buyers are competing, inventory is tight, and sellers who understand how this works are walking away with significantly better outcomes than sellers who don't. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what days on market means, what's driving Snyder's timeline right now, critically, what you can do before you list to make sure your home sells in that window and not outside of it. If you're thinking about selling in Snyder, even thinking about it 6 months from now, this is the context you need. Let me explain what days on market actually measures, because most people think it just means how long a home has been sitting on Zillow. It's more than that. Days on market is the number of calendar days from the date a property is listed in the MLS to the date it goes under contract. It stops when a buyer signs, not when it closes, when a buyer commits. That number, tracked across every sale in a given area over a set period of time, tells you 3 things about a market. 1, supply versus demand. When days on market is low, it means demand is outpacing supply. There are more buyers looking than there are homes available. That's Snyder right now. When days on market stretches out, 60, 90, 120 days, it usually means the opposite. More homes than buyers. Buyers have leverage. Sellers have to compete. 2, pricing accuracy. Here's what most sellers don't understand. Days on market is not just a market statistic. It's a pricing indicator. A home that's priced correctly for its condition and the current market sells faster. A home that's overpriced sits, even in a strong market, even in Snyder. And when a home sits, it starts to accumulate market stigma. Buyers wonder what's wrong with it. Showings drop off. You end up doing a price reduction that lands you below where you would have been if you priced it right from day one. 3, negotiating position. A home that generates offers in the first week is a home where seller has leverage. A home that's been on the market for 45 days is a home where the buyer has leverage. Days on market determines who has more power at the table. So when I tell you the average days on market in Snyder is around 18, that's not a fun fact. That's your negotiating environment. That's the window you're working in. So why is Snyder's days on market where it is? Let me give you the actual picture. The average days on market is 19, with 23 active listings, a list to sale ratio of 105%, with 70% selling above the asking price and 65% selling in less than 14 days. Here's what I can tell you from that broader market context. Buffalo has consistently been ranked among the top housing markets in the country for demand. Zillow named it the hottest metro heading into 2026. Months of supply in the greater Buffalo area has been sitting at roughly 1 month, meaning if no new listings came on the market tomorrow, everything available would be gone in about 30 days. Snyder sits at the premium end of that market. The school district, the walkability, the character of the homes, this neighborhood draws a specific committed buyer pool. These are not casual buyers. People who look in Snyder know what they're looking for. The result? When a well-priced Snyder home hits the market, the qualified buyers who've been waiting counts. First weekend, sometimes before the first open house. What's changed from 18 months ago is the buyer's pool's sensitivity to interest rates. Buyers are more deliberate than they were in 2021 and 2022. They're still buying, but they're buying with more precision, which means pricing has to be equally precise. A home priced 5% above where the comps support it doesn't just get fewer offers, it gets no offers, and then it sits. That's the nuance right now. The market is strong, but it's not forgiving. Correct pricing has never mattered more. I want to show you something that sellers consistently underestimate: the relationship between your list price and how long you've been on the market. Because these 2 things are not independent variables. One directly drives the other. Let me walk you through what I see over and over again in Snyder. The correctly priced home. This home hits the market on a Thursday. By Sunday, it has 3 showings. By Monday, it has 2 offers. It goes under contract at or above asking often with favorable terms, short inspection window, flexible closing date, minimal contingencies. Days on market, 6 to 12. Seller walks away feeling like they won. The overpriced home. This home hits the market on a Thursday. First 2 weeks, a few showings, no offers. Seller and agent wait. Week 3, a price reduction. The reduced price generates some traffic, but now the home has been on the market for 21 days. Buyers notice that. They start wondering why it didn't sell. Offers that come in are lower than they would have been week 1. Sellers end up netting less than if they had priced it right from the start. Days on market, 45 to 60 days. And that's if you're lucky. Here's the counterintuitive truth. In a market like Snyder, strategic pricing, sometimes pricing slightly below the top of the range, generates the kind of early activity that results in multiple offers. Multiple offers create competition. Competition drives the final price up. I've watched correctly priced Snyder homes sell above asking price because the right pricing strategy created urgency. Overpricing doesn't protect your number, it erodes it. What about price bands? Not every price point in Snyder behaves the same way. Homes under $300,000 in this market are moving the fastest. The buyer pool at that price is the largest, and the inventory is the tightest. The $300,000 to $450,000 range is active but more deliberate. Above $450,000, buyers are taking more time and doing more due diligence. Understanding which pool your home falls into changes the pricing strategy. I want to talk to you about something I hear from Snyder sellers more than almost anything else. It sounds like this. We're thinking about selling, but we're going to wait until spring. Here's what I want you to understand about this logic. Spring is the conventional wisdom. And because it's the conventional wisdom, it's also when the competition is the heaviest. Every seller who's been waiting since October lists in April and May, which means most buyers have more choices, which means your home has to stand out harder, be priced sharper, and compete for attention against a dozen other listings in your price range that weren't there in February. In contrast, the Snyder seller who lists in late January or February are often listing into a market where motivated buyers, people who need to move, people who've been waiting since fall, have very few options. Less competition for the home, sometimes the same offer, or a better one from a buyer who's been ready since December. I'm not telling you to sell in winter. I'm telling you that the timing of your listing is a strategic decision, not a calendar default. And it should be made based on the actual market data, not what your neighbor's house did 5 years ago. Days on market spikes in spring, not because buyers are less motivated, but because sellers flood the market at the same time. That dynamic works against you if you're one of the 30 homes that list in April. The best outcomes I've seen for Snyder sellers come when we time the listing deliberately, based on what inventory looks like right now, not what season it is. So, how long does it take to sell a home in Snyder right now? For the right home, priced correctly, listed at the right moment, you're looking at days, not months. That's the Snyder market in 2026. But here's what that number actually depends on: where your specific home sits relative to the comps, what your competition looks like at the moment you list, and whether your pricing strategy creates urgency or kills it. Every month I put together a Snyder market report. Real numbers, not estimates. Days on market, active inventory, list to sale ratios, what's moving and what's sitting. If you want to know exactly what the market is doing right now, that report is free. The link is in the description. And if you want to talk through where your home fits, what it would likely sell for, how fast, and what strategies give you the best outcome, DM me your address. That conversation costs you nothing. After 25 years in this market, I can tell you, the sellers who go in with the right information make better decisions. It's that straightforward. If this was useful, hit subscribe. Every week I put out real market content, no fluff, no clickbait, just what you actually need to know if you're thinking about making a move to Buffalo. I'll see you in the next one.